Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, Chief Content Producer and writer of jakestake.com, pop culture entertainment news website. Now, before we get our conversation underway, if you're watching this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please also give us a thumbs up, the video the thumbs up. And if you're listening to this on any of our streaming platforms, please give a 5-star rating and subscribe. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to welcome this actor and musician to this podcast. You may have seen him on Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency, ReBoot, The Guardian Code, and Riverdale. He also plays Vijay Dhar on the Lost in Space reboot. He's also a Spotify verified artist, and as of this recording, he has over 1,640 YouTube subscribers, 2,325 Twitter followers, and nearly 50,000 Instagram followers. So please help me welcome Ajay Friese.
What's up?
Ajay, thank you so much for coming, and I've taken time out of your schedule to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake. You too.
All right, let's get started. So when did you get interested in performing? How did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the entertainment industry?
You know, as a little kid, I was super into just like making up songs, doing little dances, doing little performances for my family. And then my sister was, who's a few years older than me, she started like some community theater around town. And she did this show when I was about 9. She did a production of Aladdin Jr. And I remember going to see that at the theater and just being so inspired. And then the next year, I auditioned for that community theater, and I booked a role. And then every year after that, it was like I'm doing the Christmas play with the community theater. And so I just did it because I loved it, really. And then I just did it more and more opportunities kept coming my way. And next thing I knew, I was doing it professionally. It wasn't intentional or anything. I was just doing it for fun.
Awesome. So who are your industry role models when it comes to acting and music, and how did they influence your acting or your sound?
You know, with acting, it's always amazing to like witness greatness on the screen. So just really, really talented actors I look up to a lot. But my role models are really the people I get to work with, and the really skilled people who I really respect, who I work with on set or backstage, because they're the people who kind of really show me the ropes, and I can actually see the behind the scenes journey of their preparation and how they approach studying scripts and everything. And so those are the people who I'm fortunate enough to work with. Those are the people who really inspire me, I think, in acting. And then for music, I remember being 11 and I had an iPod Touch, and I remember it was like midnight or something, way past my bedtime, and I was in my bed on my iPod Touch, and I discovered Taylor Swift, "You Belong with Me" on YouTube. And I remember just something struck me right away with her as being like really amazing. And then you know, she was super popular all over the world for the last decade, and I was just kind of like everyone else who heard her but I wasn't really a super fan or anything until her few most recent albums came out, Evermore and Folklore. And that was when I really got into her, because I realized that she's an incredible poet. And so she really taught me, listening to her music is really inspiring from a lyrical perspective, because I'm a songwriter, and I just find her work really, really mesmerizing.
I do too. I really enjoyed listening to The Last Great American Dynasty. That was one of my favorite tracks.
Same. I love that one. The storytelling is amazing.
Absolutely. And not to mention, did you listen to Red when it came Taylor's version? It's fabulous.
Yeah, I've listened to the Taylor's versions.
I gotta say, I got goosebumps when I listened to Better Man, the song that she gave to Little Big Town.
I don't think I've heard that. But when I watched the All Too Well short film, I was like really deeply like emotionally affected. And then the next morning I woke up, and it was like the first thing on my mind as I woke up, and I was like, whoa, I'm still recovering from the emotional kind of realness of it all. Yeah, but my favorite songs on Evermore and Folklore, I think, Tolerate It is really, really good songwriting. I love Willow. I also love The Lakes. That song is super good.
Yeah, I gotta say, Taylor her music has gotten better and better as she has released it.
I agree, and it's really cool that she's making stripped down kind of her latest two albums, like not the re-recordings, but Evermore and Folklore, kind of feel like if Bob Dylan or Johnny Cash or all of the kind of great American songwriters, if they existed in 2020, it kind of sounds like that.
And I've always told people all the time that she reminds me so much of Carole King, of our generation's Carole King.
I don't know much about Carole King, but
Carole King's a legendary singer and songwriter. You need to definitely, Ajay, after this interview, you need to look her up.
Okay, I will.
All right, so let's get back on track. So some of my audience might know you from your roles on Dirk Gently, Reboot the Guardian Code, which, by the way, that's fantastic. I'm so glad that Reboot came back, because I originally watched the show when it came back in the 90s. So it was fabulous. And also Riverdale. So what were some of the similarities and differences between some of the characters you portrayed on each of these shows?
So on Lost in Space is probably what I'm best known for. I play Vijay Dhar, which is the love interest of the middle Robinson child, and the Robinsons are kind of like the main family of that show. And then on Reboot, I played Parker, who is kind of like one of the main characters. He's a computer nerd. And then on Dirk Gently's, I played Farson, kind of like this timid runaway prince in this fairy tale alternate dimension. And I was thinking about this. I was thinking about like what these all have in common, and strangely enough, they're all kind of a bit timid characters, which is interesting because me as a person, I'm not very shy. I've never really been that shy. Although when I think about it, I am kind of shy sometimes when it comes to talking about my feelings and stuff that I'm embarrassed about, or stuff that, just stuff that's going on. And so I think all of these characters kind of share that. They all have a lot of heart. And Vijay and Parker are both a little bit awkward. So I wonder if I come across as a bit awkward in the audition room,
I don't think so. But however, here's the thing: you mentioned that Vijay, that you were returning for the final season of Netflix Lost in Space, and how has Vijay grown as a character all throughout all 3 seasons?
So yeah, it was 3 seasons. It took us 5 years to film because we started in 2016, and so 2017. And so me myself, I've actually grown a lot in those past years, and I feel like that mirrors a lot of Vijay's growth. I feel like Vijay started out the show being kind of a teenager who was just kind of finding his way in space and was smart. He got onto the spaceship and everything. He had lots of things going for him, but he very much didn't know who he was. And then, these characters just get everything thrown at them, and the kids are stranded from the parents for 6 months, and there's all this responsibility thrown at them. And I felt very similar as a young adult suddenly having the weight of all these roles and jobs on me. And so I felt like I did a lot of growing up in the time that I was on the show. And I feel like Vijay did the same. And in the end, he really realized that in the midst of all the responsibility and the becoming an adult, he realized just that the only way to live your life is just to be yourself. And there's no time really to waste trying to be the person you think you're supposed to be, or the person that you think, your crush will like, or anything like that. Like, it's only really worth being who you truly are. And so that's what I think he discovered over the course of the show.
Awesome. I can't wait for that. And my dad's a huge fan of Lost in Space. So I seen him watch him all the time. So it's a great show. So he totally enjoys the show. All right. So let's transition from acting to music. So you released an extended edition of your EP, Light a Match, Then Run. So can you describe the recording process of this record to my audience?
Yes. So yeah, I'm a musician. I've been a musician. What a lot of people don't know because they always, people always ask me like, oh, you're an actor turned musician, but I've actually been a musician for longer than I've been an actor. I've been a musician. My parents say as a baby, I was like always humming songs and drumming my hands. And then I remember from like ages 3 to 6, I would just be making up songs pretty much all the time, just in my head, like just freestyling, singing, about, I don't know what was going on around me. And so it just kind of came out of me. And it's always been my dream to release an album. And then I've had like 5 different album plans since I was 12, written in like notebooks and on my mom's old MacBook and all sorts of stuff. And then when I got a lot of my acting jobs, like Lost in Space and Dirk Gently, I kind of felt like it was the right time to actually record my songs and release a debut project. And so I went to New York, where I had a connection with one of the touring members of Bon Jovi, Everett Bradley, and he produced my album full of songs that I wrote, that I arranged. And the really cool thing is we got to record with like some of the world's best musicians, which was just an insane experience, because they were taking my ideas, but they were executing them like 10 times better than I could even imagine in my head. So I was really, really, really fortunate and really stoked to be able to do that. And yeah, I mean, we recorded with like our guitarist is Alex Nolan, who's the lead guitarist of Cyndi Lauper, and then
Wow.
and then our keyboardist is David Byrne of the Talking Heads keyboardist and St. Vincent's keyboardist, and then Jake Goldbass, who played drums for Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, and Shelton Gray, who played bass for the Black Eyed Peas and Fifth Harmony and Ludacris. So it was just amazing to have all these people playing like songs I had written in my bedroom, but just making them huge.
And you've definitely learned, that is like a heavy hitter list that you just sent out. And like, what were some of the lessons that you learned from them that helped you grow as a musician and also increase your songwriting and production?
One of the big ones was in recording music. Sometimes you're like being a perfectionist and you think your song is going to be better if you listen really, really carefully and you change every single note that you can tell is slightly off if you're listening super close, or everything that's sung like just ever so slightly off key. But in reality, when you go in and do this all, it loses its magic, especially when it's played by really, really skillful musicians. Just leave it, because it's honestly going to sound amazing and so much more real, and no one's going to hear these things ever unless they're like concentrating super focusedly. But then when you change it, it just becomes sterile and just like a computer did it. And so that was a big lesson I learned. Just if it just feels good, just leave it as it is, sonically. Yeah, that was probably one of my biggest takeaways. And then also everyone who's making art is there for a reason. They're all there because they get some sort of fulfillment out of what they do. So if you're working with people who you trust and who you think are talented, then it's your role to empower them to be able to have the freedom to do what they feel to a degree. And that's really when you're going to access their genius. That's really when you're going to record their best work. That's going to sound 10 times better than the best way they possibly played exactly what you wanted them to. So just kind of letting them do their thing to a degree, is really when you can inspire just amazing recordings, I think.
I'd rather have raw music than techno travels any day of the week. Alrighty, so let's get started. I have a couple of songs that I picked out, and I really love to hear the stories behind them. So let's start with Blackberry. I love that sound on that
Thank
song.
you. Yeah, Blackberry. Oh, so Blackberry is the oldest song on the album. Not the oldest recorded. They were all recorded at the same time, but it is the oldest song I wrote. When I was in grade 7, it was a super hot summer, and I was super into Survivor Man and Man vs. Wild, and particularly Lighting Fires. And I was playing at the park near my house, at the hill near my house with my best friend. And we accidentally started a brush fire that took the fire department like a few hours to put out. And luckily no one got hurt, but it was so scary. And 12-year-old me was left like just super scarred from the intensity of the 12, literally like 15-foot tall flames, and the damage they could have done. And I didn't tell anyone for a few months, and the guilt just like ate away at me inside. And then I finally confessed to my mom in a letter that I like left in her office. And she actually found the letter. She brought it out as I was releasing the EP. And at the end of it, it's like, P.S. I also took the $20 iTunes gift card. So that's Blackberry, and I wrote that song in grade 8 at the back of science class in like September after that summer. Yeah, and then it just kind of became like a family and friend favorite over the years, playing it at dinners and stuff, and then I had to include it.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. And it all started from an 18-foot flame.
Yep. And lighting a match and then running, because we were like, holy shit, what's happening? And then the album is called Light a Match Then Run.
All right, let's talk about Beauty So Raw.
Beauty So Raw is kind of about, I wrote that in high school too. It's kind of about a relationship gone a bit sour, where it started out with love and stuff, but then like one another just kind of starts hurting each other, and you kind of fall out of love and into this like unhealthy cycle of just hurting one another. And then you kind of just the realization like there's no beauty here anymore in this relationship. Like nothing of what we're doing is beautiful, and it's just kind of about the mourning of a relationship that was once great but kind of went astray.
I hate it's sad to hear about that, but however, when one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
All right, so Jasper is, as of this recording, your most streamed song on Spotify with almost 118,000 plays.
Yeah, that was super, like, it's so great to have streams on that song, and I'm really glad so many people like it. That's a love song about a relationship I had, and just kind of the feeling of being heartbroken, and then finding someone who you really love, and through the joy of loving them and being loved by them, your heart is no longer broken. And so that's what the song's about, really.
Awesome. And the last song we got to discuss is Your Eyes.
Yeah, so Your Eyes is actually a song that came out of a lot of sadness. I went through a time about a year or two ago when I was just incredibly self-critical of everything I did, every thought I had, like everything, and just super pessimistic about myself, and just always trying to convince myself that there's something wrong with myself, or that I was a monster, or like all this stuff. And then I looked around at the people who were in my life, like my family and my girlfriend and my best friends and everything, and they were all people that I like trusted and valued and respected, and valued their opinion and their judgment and everything, and they all like loved me and thought highly of me. And that's when I realized, like, okay, this can't be as bad as it is in your head. Like you're worthy of love, and everything. And so the song's about finding faith in yourself through the faith other people have in you, and that's why it's called Your Eyes. It's about that.
I totally agree. That has the potential to be a very powerful song.
Thank you.
All right, we got to start writing down our conversation, everyone. So, what are some of your favorite social media channels and why do you like them so much?
For myself?
Yes.
Yes. Well, you mean channels like different accounts or like different websites that
Like like a platform, like an Instagram, a TikTok, a Twitter.
Yeah. But for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I primarily use Instagram. My Instagram handle is Friendly Brown Kid. I don't remember making it that. I think I made it that in high school when I didn't care at all about Instagram. And I was like, I was like so late to the game with Snapchat and Instagram. Everyone had them all throughout like grade 9, grade 10, I think I got it in like grade 11 because I was just like anti-establishment or whatever. I was like, I don't want to go with the mainstream, or I don't know, I was some hipster kid. And then I looked at my Instagram and it was just Friendly Brown Kid. And I didn't remember making it that, but I was like, yeah, I'll keep it. But now I really like it. It's called Friendly Brown Kid is my Instagram. And then I use Twitter and TikTok a bit. And those are both Friese_Ajay.
Awesome, Ajay. So believe me, it took me a while. I had to get my folks' permission when Facebook first came out when I was a senior in high school for me to get Facebook, to log on to Facebook.
Oh, yeah. But you got it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was a very long time ago. So, if you had a chance to meet an actor, a rising actor, or a musician in your age group, and what advice would you share with them?
I kind of feel like that's me. Like I kind of feel like it's weird to give advice to people because I feel like I'm in many ways I'm still learning so much. One thing that's always struck me, people ask like, how do I make a career in this? How do I make a career in that? And I never tried to make a career in acting. It just happened because it was something I loved doing, and through loving doing it and pursuing those experiences, I got a lot of experience and ended up getting trained and skilled in it just through experience, and then through a series of luck and privilege and everything, it ended up becoming a career. But I mean, I enjoyed every step of the way, including all the high school musicals that I did and all the community theater productions. And if I had just tried from the get-go to be on a Netflix TV show or something, I probably wouldn't have got it because I wouldn't have had any practice. So my advice would just be do what you love and stop thinking about a career, because ultimately the only reason we're doing any of this is because we enjoy doing it, and there's no point in doing it if you don't enjoy doing it. So just enjoy the ride and enjoy every step of the way. And it's not about goals, it's not about careers. It's just about enjoying your passion and your hobby, and maybe it'll lead to something. You never know what it's leading to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Same here. So, the last question. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Where can my audience find your music, number one, and number two, find your shows, number two, and last and certainly not least, where can I connect with you on social media?
Awesome. So my music is on any streaming platform under Ajay Friese, AJAY space FRIESE. And I have 9 songs out right now, plus a song I sang on Lost in Space. So you should go check that out. It's a cover of Bob Marley's 3 Little Birds. And then my TV shows are all on Netflix, actually. Yeah, there's 5 of them in total, I think, and they're all Netflix originals, which is cool. And then, Instagram at Friendly Brown Kid, and Twitter and TikTok at Friese_Ajay.
Alrighty, guys. If you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Please subscribe to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. That's all Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Ajay, jakestake.com, my platform, is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Really
You're so welcome. So, guys, if you want to catch interviews and more interviews, more podcasts, and even some music reviews, head to jakes-take.com. And finally, if you are financially able to, please consider heading up to PayPal. Help get jakestake.com and my platform up and running. It's just me. I've scheduled all the interviews, editing all the stuff, and it'd be great to have your support. If you're financially able to, awesome. If you're not, I totally understand. So please, great alternatives: a social media subscription and a follow on social media and a podcast subscription. Jay, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it. You are awesome.
Thank you so much, Jake. I really appreciate it too.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to listen to this and to watch this. I really appreciate it, and have a great day, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.